Hi, this is your head coach, Steve Hopkins. And in like 5 minutes, I wanted to give you a fantastic exercise to improve how you feel trust and a trust relationship that you're trying to build. Okay. So, what I wanted to do though is just share a quick overview of the really important components to trust. Trust is this massive, big topic, right? And lots of stuff has been written about it. You can read a lot of articles about it. But what are we experiencing when we're hoping for trust, and what are we experiencing when maybe we're missing trust? Right? In business, as leaders, often we get a feeling of disconnection. We maybe have people clearly just opt out, tap the brakes, push back a little bit. Um, Sometimes out and out not share things with us. Lack of consistency. I mean, there's lots of manifestations that people complain about when I get asked to jump into teams or pairs of people trying to work together. And we might focus on the problem. The real thing is we're putting two people or more together to try to do great work, and we have fractured trust. It'll stop everything. It'll certainly slow things down if they don't stop altogether. So what I wanted to do is just very quickly zip through the components of trust. All right. And this comes from the framework of David Horsiger, who has written a lot about trust. All right. Trust Edge, and a book called The Trusted Leader as well. But I found the framework to be so relevant because all of the areas of trust help us just identify, instead of keeping it vague and kind of foggy and mushy, we can really focus on what part am I feeling, what part is missing. And so we can focus on just building that thing up. And I built a whole module around exercises to focus specifically on the areas of trust. All right, but I want to give you one homework assignment today that I think will really blow your mind and take a massive leap forward, no matter where you are. But I want to zip through the components of trust, and if you have an opportunity just to take out an index card or a piece of paper, something like that, you can jot these down. All right, because I want to give you an exercise that's going to kind of focus on giving you an action item, right, that will really make a difference. But I'm just going to list these right here. So when we're talking about trust, what element of trust are we really wanting to hone in? It could be consistency. All of these start with a C, by the way, so they're really helpful to remember. So consistency, big element. We're not going to go through and dissect all of these, but I'm just going to list these. Clarity. That lack of clarity starts to erode trust. So clarity is big. Compassion, character, contribution, even competency comes into play, right? We can fracture trust because we're not showing competency or not paying attention to that. Connection, and then commitment, right? And so the idea here with this framework is that trust is such a big animal that if we just sit with the feelings of broken trust or eroding trust, we're frustrated and wish it were better, but we really don't know what to do. And we may pick one thing that seems to be our go to for trust building, when the fact of the matter, the way to build trust through clarity would look a lot different than trust building through connection. Okay. And so the first thing I would do is say to you, um, get used to the framework and just, think about each of those things as different pillars to trust in general. All right, but here's how you can really put this in motion. Okay, so again, a card that would just have consistency, clarity, compassion, character, contribution, competency, connection, and commitment. All right, and then what I'd like you to do is think about a relationship where you wish you had a better trusting relationship. So you wish somebody was giving you more trust. All right, you would wish for a better relationship, and from this list, what I'd like you to do is write the word need on the top of this. Okay, and think about that relationship and choose the one dimension of trust that you wish you got more of from that other person. All right, what do you feel is missing? If you could pick one of those areas and say, we'd be stronger if this person would pour in a little bit more of that. Is it contribution? Is it commitment? Is it consistency? And you can be thinking often through the lens of a boss or a peer. All right. So I'll give you that clue as well, because often we're hoping for trust from people that are equal to us or above us. All right. So think about that. Think about your person, maybe jot that person down, and then identify which of those areas you think you would wish for a bigger trust deposit. All right. So that's the first step of the exercise. The real value of this exercise is taking one more step. All right. And you could think about that same relationship, but I'll bet it could be a different relationship that's going to challenge you to think about on the other side of this card the word deliver. All right. And often, if we feel and look in the mirror and say, I have a relationship where I need to look in the mirror and challenge myself, what part of trust do I need to give more of? Often, this could be a peer or somebody that reports to us. All right. I'm not saying you can't look above and have the same query, but it might nudge you to say a peer or somebody that reports to you in the perspective of I need in that relationship to make a trust deposit. I would like that the relationship to be better, more functional, more collaborative. What do I need to contribute as far as a trust building action? And again, going through this list, what area stands out that you think you need to deliver more of? All right. That simple action will put some focus to you instead of just a wish for better trust or I think I need to build trust. Because putting trust in motion as an action activity sometimes can be cumbersome because it's so big and fuzzy, right? And sometimes we'll pick the wrong thing and try to earn credit. It's kind of like appreciation, right? We action appreciation only find out that we're not speaking the most favorite language of appreciation for that person that's our recipient. And it's frustrating for us because we're trying to make an effort, and it's frustrating for them because the effort missed the mark. And the same thing with trust. We can be missing the mark of the most needed dimension of trust, right? I'd be happy to share great activities and focus pieces on each of these dimensions. If you're interested, you can ping out to me because we have a whole module that we built around this. We have the description and the clarity of each one of these dimensions, as well as particular practice activities you can do to focus on making trust deposits in that particular dimension. So if you've identified it, we can give it to you. But even this step alone was going to give you a lot of clarity around what part of trust that you need to focus on. And I'll bet there'll be some examples that become self-evident just through that activity alone. Right? So reach out if you need some help. Write a card like this. I'm doing it today. I've got my person and my other person that I'm going to focus on in the dimension that I'm going to work on in the next week. And I hope you will too. I'll look forward to seeing you on the other side of the river.